What are 4 common mistakes Oregonians make when they get hurt at work? The answer might surprise you. Hello everyone. In my practice, I've seen many injured workers make what seem to be small, inconsequential decisions after they get hurt at work. Unfortunately, these seemingly small decisions actually end up becoming big hurdles to the validity of their workers' compensation claim. For example, mistake number 1, wait to file a claim. It is not uncommon for people to wrestle with whether or not to file a workers' compensation claim. It creates a lot of uncertainty and a lot of stress, particularly when it comes to your employment. Many people are very concerned about how their employer is going to react to the news that they got hurt at work. As a solution, people decide to wait, hoping that the injury is going to heal on its own or that it won't be so bad that it'll interfere with their work. In addition to that, many people believe that if things get bad enough down the road, they'll still have the opportunity to file. That is not always the case. In fact, a lot of times it creates problems. Injured workers have 90 days from the date of their injury to file a workers' compensation claim. If they miss that period, oftentimes it precludes or stops them from filing a claim. The longer a person waits to file a claim, the more difficult it may become to prove the required elements of a workers' compensation claim. It'll be harder to tie your injuries to an incident that happened perhaps months ago. And it raises questions that the insurance company can grab onto. For example, since the time that you're claiming you were injured, have you been involved in any type of other activity that could potentially cause the same injury? Has so much time passed that your doctor is having a difficult time tying your current injury to something that happened in the past? Has it been so long that the details of your incident have become blurred and more vague? These are just a few questions that could come up if you delay filing a claim. Mistake number 2, fail to report the injury to your employer. Now I know what you might be thinking. Isn't that the same thing as filing a workers' compensation claim? And the answer is no, it's not. You can report the injury to your employer and ultimately still not file a workers' compensation claim. With that said, there are several reasons why you should report your injury to your employer as soon as possible. First of all, it could actually extend the deadline that you have to file a workers' compensation claim. As we mentioned before, the typical deadline is 90 days. But if you tell your employer about the injury within that time frame, your deadline could extend up to 12 months. Second, it is important to tell your employer right away so that you can keep the facts surrounding your work injury clear. So by reporting the injury to your employer as soon as possible, number 1, you remember the details surrounding it much more clearly. Witnesses remember the details surrounding it much more clearly. And you're able to validate the fact that you were actually performing the activity that injured you. Third mistake, failing to tell your doctor that you were injured at work. Now this could happen for a number of reasons. Number 1, you're nervous about filing a workers' compensation claim, so you don't want to mention it to your doctor. Number 2, you kind of mentioned it to your doctor in passing, but didn't really emphasize it, so it didn't make it into the chart note. Or number 3, you didn't even really think about it. Either way, not clearly telling your doctor that you are injured at work can cause serious problems for you down the road. For example, the insurance company is looking for proof that you were injured on the day that you claim to be injured. And they're going to look to your medical chart notes to determine that. And if around that time frame there is no mention in your doctor records of any type of work incident, they are going to grasp onto that and say that the injury must have occurred some other way or in some different place. Another reason is the insurance company can use it to call your own credibility in question. Because if you were actually injured at work, why didn't you mention it when you were first treated? And now you're only mentioning it several months down the road. Fourth mistake, failing to get written work restrictions from our doctor each month. One of the biggest concerns surrounding a work injury is how in the world are we going to pay our bills when we're not able to work? What are we going to do about our wages? Well, one of the benefits of workers' compensation in Oregon is wage loss. If your attending physician takes you off of work, then you can receive 66.6% of your average weekly wage. In order to do that, though, you have to get these written work restrictions and turn it into your employer. Your attending physician can backdate work restrictions up to 14 days, but that's it. If it's been longer than 2 weeks since you've had an updated work restriction, then you potentially are out of any type of wage loss benefit. So it is critical that you see your doctor on a regular basis and get those updated work restrictions. Well, I hope these small pieces of information have been at least a little helpful to you as you try and navigate your workers' compensation claim or the claim of someone that you know. It is these small basic things that help to strengthen our claims and help push us through this system that often seems unfair. I wish you all the best. That's all I've got for you today, and I hope to talk to you again soon.